Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt the crushing weight of its silence? The stars seem so close, shimmering like scattered diamonds on black velvet, yet they are separated by oceans of empty, freezing dark. What kind of heart does it take to wander that darkness forever? To understand the cosmos, we must first understand grief. We often think of the universe as a vibrant, colorful playground, a place of gravity-defying leaps, bright galaxies, and heroic rescues. But beneath the bright surface of those spinning galaxies lies a profoundly quiet, melancholic history. It is a story not of a hero in red, but of a young girl in a crown of silver. A girl who left her world behind, not for adventure, but out of a desperate, childlike empathy. Before we begin, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any of the stories I'll be uploading. Now, let's continue with the story. Her name is Rosalina. But long before she was the ethereal watcher of the cosmos, long before she commanded the comet observatory or guided the flow of star stuff, she was simply a child. A little girl standing on a green hill on a small blue planet, staring up at the sky. She had a father, she had a brother, and she had a tree on a hill, a beautiful, sprawling tree that offered shade in the summer and golden leaves in the fall. But beneath that tree rested a memory she could barely bring herself to face. The memory of her mother, sleeping eternally beneath the soil. Why do we look to the stars when we lose someone? Do we hope to see them looking back? One fateful day, a rusted star skiff crashed upon her world. It was small, fragile, and old. Inside it was not an invader, nor a monster, but a tiny star-shaped creature, a luma. The little star was weeping, its tears falling like microscopic meteorites. It was waiting for its mother. It had been waiting for a very long time. The girl looked at the crying star. She understood that kind of waiting. She understood the hollow ache in the chest, the silent hope that if you just stay in one place long enough, the one you love will return. "I will help you find your mother," she promised. It was a child's promise, innocent, naive, terribly heavy. They fixed the rusted ship together. The girl packed provisions for the journey, a telescope to search the endless void, a butterfly net to catch whatever dreams might float by, and bread baked by her father, warm and smelling of home. And so they left the blue planet behind. The atmosphere thinned. The sky shifted from cerulean to a deep, bruised purple, and finally to the absolute black of the void. Have you ever imagined the silence of deep space? It is not a peaceful silence. It is a heavy, consuming quiet that presses against your ears and demands your sanity. Days bled into weeks. The bread went stale. The ship drifted through asteroid belts and nebulae, a tiny speck of rusted metal in a sea of indifferent cosmic dust. The girl peered through her telescope, searching the faces of distant planets, looking for a mother that was not hers. But the universe is impossibly vast, and mothers are terribly hard to find. When the food ran out, hunger set in. It was a cold, biting hunger. The luma, seeing the girl's distress, offered her a starbit, a fragment of celestial debris. It tasted like honey. It tasted like frost. It tasted like the memory of something sweet that you can never quite place. They survived on starbits, drifting further and further from the sun she knew. Time behaves differently in the dark. It stretches. It pools. It becomes irrelevant. The girl began to forget the sound of her father's voice. She began to forget the color of the grass, but she could not forget the tree on the hill. One night, if night even exists in a place without a sun, she dreamed of her mother. She dreamed of a warm back, a soft voice. "I am always with you," the voice whispered, "as unseen as the wind, as silent as the stars." The girl woke up, her face wet with tears. The realization hit her cold and absolute. The Luma's mother was not out there. Her own mother was not out there. The universe was not hiding them in some distant nebula. They were gone. She wept. The Luma wept with her. In the vast, uncaring vacuum of space, a child and a star shared a profound, shattering grief. But grief, when shared, changes shape. More Lumas began to appear, drawn by the rusted ship, drawn by the girl's tears, drawn by the strange, warm light of a human heart breaking in the dark. They gathered around her, tiny beacons of light in the freezing void. They were all orphans. They were all waiting. The girl looked at the sea of stars surrounding her. She looked at her own small, frail hands. If no one else was coming, who would care for them? If the universe was truly this cold, who would build the fire? She made a choice that ended her childhood and birthed the legend. She would stop searching for a mother. She would become one. She used the raw materials of the cosmos, the stardust and the ice, to build a home. The rusted skiff was expanded, transformed into a sprawling, majestic structure. The Comet Observatory, a beacon of light traversing the galaxies, a sanctuary for the lost. Rosalina ceased to be just a girl. She became the mother of the Lumas, the watcher of the skies. She traded her mortal years for cosmic eternity. But what is the cost of eternity? To live forever among the stars is to watch everything else fade. It is to know that the blue planet you left behind will spin on without you, that the tree on the hill will wither, that the people you loved will turn to dust while you remain, perfectly preserved in the cold, unyielding vacuum of space. She walks the halls of the observatory, her footsteps echoing in the silence. She reads her storybook to the Lumas, night after night, turning her trauma into a fairy tale, a myth to soothe her children. Does she ever regret it? Does she ever look through her telescope, past the galaxies and the black holes, trying to catch a glimpse of a green hill that no longer exists? The cycle of the universe is absolute. Stars are born, they burn, and they die in magnificent, violent supernovas, only to collapse and be born again. Rosalina watches it all, a silent witness to the breath of the cosmos. She waits, she guides, she remembers. How do you measure a century when there's no sun to orbit? When you live in the absolute vacuum of space, time ceases to be a straight line. It becomes a circle, a slow, endless waltz of celestial bodies. For Rosalina, decades pass like the blink of an eye. She does not age. Her silver hair remains untouched by time, and her blue gown ripples in the artificial gravity of the Comet Observatory, a solitary ghost ship sailing the cosmic seas. She is serene. Some might call her distant, even cold. But is it truly coldness? Or is it the profound stillness of a deep ocean, hiding currents of unfathomable emotion beneath a mirror-like surface? Consider her children, the Lumas. They are creatures of pure light and innocence, bouncing around the observatory with joyful ignorance. But Rosalina knows their ultimate fate. The destiny of a Luma is not to live forever. Their purpose is to transform, to throw themselves into the gravitational pull of dying stars, or to burst with unimaginable energy to become new galaxies, new planets, new suns. How do you prepare your heart to love a child whose very destiny is a beautiful, necessary self-destruction? You must become strong. You must become the quiet center of the universe. Rosalina hides her pain behind a gentle smile. She reads them stories in the library, her voice a soft hum against the oppressive silence of the void. She prepares them for the day they will leave her to become the very sky she sails through. But even a cosmic watcher has a home. Every 100 years, the Comet Observatory completes its massive orbit and returns to the blue planet, the planet of her birth. The Lumos shower the world below in starbits, a phenomenon the mortals call the Star Festival. For Rosalina, it is a fleeting glance at a life she left behind, a silent vigil over a green hill she can never touch again. Yet, peace in the universe is a fragile, fleeting illusion. It was during one of these centennial visits that the cosmos was torn apart. A shadow eclipsed the light of the Star Festival, not a natural phenomenon, but a beast of unyielding greed. Bowser, a king driven by a singular, consuming desire to conquer not just a kingdom, but the fabric of the universe itself. He tore through the sky in galleons of wood and iron, defying the laws of physics. But his true crime was not the kidnapping of a terrestrial princess. It was the theft of the stars. He stripped the Comet Observatory of its power. He stole the grand stars, the beating heart of Rosalina's sanctuary. Imagine the terror of that moment. The observatory, once a beacon of warmth and light, instantly paralyzed, plunged into a deep, freezing darkness, drifting aimlessly in the void, completely blind. The Lumos, shivering, terrified, looking to their mother for salvation. What can a mother do when the light of her home is violently extinguished? She waits, because the universe, in its infinite wisdom, always seeks balance. Where there is a shadow, a spark will eventually ignite. That spark fell from the sky in the form of a man in red, Mario, a mortal from the blue planet, cast into the terrifying expanse of deep space, desperately chasing the woman he loved. He woke up on a small grassy planetoid, surrounded by the unknown, and there she was. Rosalina did not meet him with panic. She did not scream for vengeance. She materialized before him with the quiet, imposing grace of a goddess. She saw the fierce determination burning in his eyes. A mortal, willing to cross galaxies, willing to face black holes and supernovas just to save one life. Did it remind her of her own journey? Did she see in him the same desperate love that once drove a little girl to repair a rusted ship? "May the stars shine down on you," she told him. She did not draw a sword. She is a guardian of the cycle, not a soldier. Instead, she offered him something far more precious. She entrusted him with a Luma. She gave this mortal the power to spin, to defy gravity, to traverse the cosmic voids. She placed the fate of her children and the fate of the universe in his hands. As Mario traveled from galaxy to galaxy, bleeding, fighting, and reclaiming the stolen stars, Rosalina stood perfectly still by the beacon of the observatory. She watched. With every power star he returned, a section of the observatory flared back to life. The engines hummed. The light pushed back the freezing dark, and Rosalina watched this mortal man do the impossible. She is the mother of galaxies. Her objective was clear: to restore her ship, to protect her children, and to ensure the cosmic cycle continued uninterrupted. But as she watched Mario risk his life time and time again, perhaps her objective shifted. Perhaps she realized that the universe is not just maintained by gravity and stardust. It is maintained by the fierce, unyielding bonds of those who refuse to let go in the dark. What happens when the universe breaks? When the very fabric of reality tears, pulling everything into a singularity of absolute nothingness. We spend our lives fearing the dark. We build fires. We forge alliances. We gather stars to push the shadows away. But there is a darkness so profound, so hungry, that no light can escape it. It happened at the center of the universe. The mortal in red had won. The beast was defeated. But the energy released from that titanic clash was too much. The stolen suns collapsed in on themselves. A supermassive black hole tore open the sky, a swirling vortex of pure annihilation. It began to consume everything: the rocks, the ships, the light. It was a mouth that could not be fed, expanding with terrifying speed, threatening to swallow the entire cosmos. Mario, Peach, Bowser, they were all helpless against the crushing weight of gravity. They were pulled into the abyss, and from the deck of her comet observatory, Rosalina watched. What does a mother do when the end of all things arrives? Does she scream? Does she weep? No. She understands. She understands that the universe demands a toll. She understands the terrible, beautiful purpose of her children. The Lumas knew what they had to do. They did not need to be told. One by one, they looked at their mother. A silent farewell. A final heartbreaking smile of pure light. And then, they threw themselves into the void. Imagine the sound of 1 billion stars falling into darkness. It is not an explosion. It is a soft, rushing whisper. They flew from the observatory, a river of weeping light, diving straight into the heart of the black hole. They sacrificed their small, bright lives to neutralize the destruction. They became the mass, the energy, the ultimate counterweight to the end of the world. How heavy is the heart of a woman who must watch her children burn to save a universe that has already taken everything from her? She did not close her eyes. She bore witness. It was her duty. And then, there was a flash, a blinding absolute white. When Mario opened his eyes, he was not dead. He was floating in a realm without color, without gravity, without time. A pure, blank canvas, and she was there. But she was no longer just a girl from a blue planet. She was colossal, ethereal, a literal goddess woven from the fabric of space itself. Her eyes held the weight of 1,000 galaxies, yet her voice was as soft as falling snow. "Do you hear the baby stars?" she asked. It is the most profound question in the cosmos. She explained the ultimate secret of the dark. The universe, she whispered, is a giant clockwork of rebirth. Stars die. They burn out. They collapse into darkness. But that darkness is not a tomb. It is a cradle. From the dust of dead stars, new life is forged. The stardust scatters, it pools, it ignites, and it forms new galaxies, new planets, new suns. The cycle repeats endlessly, beautifully. But the cycle never repeats itself in quite the same way, she murmured. It was a message of profound comfort. The ones we lose are never truly gone. They are scattered in the wind. They are the iron in the earth. They are the light in the night sky. The Lumas did not die. They became the universe itself. With a wave of her hand, Rosalina breathed life back into existence. The universe reset. A new Big Bang, born from the sacrifice of innocence and the love of a mother. Mario awoke on his blue planet. The sky was clear. The star festival raged on, and there, standing on a green hill, was a sprawling tree. Perhaps somewhere in the leaves, a memory still lingered. But what of Rosalina? When the universe resets, where does the Watcher go? Sometime later, in a cosmos that felt both familiar and strangely different, the cycle began anew. A new journey, a new starship, carved into the shape of a mustachioed face, piloted by a large purple Luma named Luba. Luba knew of the legend. He spoke of a lady of the stars. How could he know her if the universe had been reborn? Because Rosalina exists outside of the cycle. She is the constant. In this new iteration, this second galactic journey, she did not immediately reveal herself. The observatory was gone. hidden somewhere in the deep folds of space. But she was never truly absent. Have you ever felt a presence in the room when you are entirely alone? A sudden warmth when the cold feels too much to bear. When the mortal in red struggled, when a galaxy proved too treacherous, a shadow would appear. The cosmic spirit, a shimmering, ghostly silhouette of the Watcher. She didn't fight his battles for him, but she offered her hand. She showed him the way. She had become an omnipresent force, a guardian angel woven into the very code of the universe. She no longer needed a physical ship to guide the lost. Her spirit was everywhere, stitched into the dark matter, watching, waiting, protecting. She reunited with her children. She nodded to the hero, a silent acknowledgement between two souls who understand the weight of saving the world. And then she turned her ship and sailed back into the freezing, beautiful dark. Where is she now? Perhaps she is orbiting a distant nebula. Perhaps she's reading a storybook to a new generation of Loomis, her voice echoing in the quiet halls of her ship. She is the girl who lost her mother. She is the mother of the stars. She is the lonely watcher of the cosmic clock. Whenever you feel that the night is too dark, or that the silence of your room is too heavy, remember her. Look out your window. Find the brightest star in the sky. It is not just burning gas. It is a promise. It is a reminder that even in the deepest, coldest vacuum of existence, someone is watching over the lost. Someone is keeping the fire lit. And the universe, in all its terrifying vastness, is holding you close. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the cosmos. If you found comfort in the dark, if the silence of the stars brought you peace, please consider subscribing to History and Fiction for Sleep. Leave a comment below. Tell me, what do you see when you look at the night sky? Share this video with anyone who needs a moment of quiet in a loud world. Rest now. The universe is watching over you.